Hey YouTube, how is it going today? In this video, I want to talk about Humbl Incorporated, ticker symbol HMBL. They had a pretty favorable news article come out this morning, so I want to touch base on that and then do an update on their current price action on their chart. Then after that, I'm going to get into some of your questions. Now, if you're new to my channel, I've been trading and investing for over 20 years, and in every video, I'll show you some of the potential trades and investments that I see setting up. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. And I also have a Patreon group, so if you would like to be a part of our community and see what we are buying and selling in real time, that link is in the description. All right, so let's get right into this news article, and this article is titled Best Penny Stocks to Buy as Cryptocurrencies Boom, the 3 to watch in 2021. And it says, two seemingly unrelated assets that are showing solid performances are penny stocks and cryptocurrencies. Many investors do not realize that they can draw several comparisons between these two unique asset classes. And when it comes to penny stocks and cryptocurrencies, there are big risks that investors should consider. Now, both of these assets often see large price swings during daily trading, and this could lead to either large gains or significant losses. For example, it's rare to see blue chip stocks double in a single day, yet it is not uncommon to see penny stocks jump from 50 cents to $1 during any given trading day. The three companies they talk about in this article are SOS Limited, Hall of Fame Resorts, and Humbl. Now, they say SOS could have some tailwinds because on April 20th, the company announced it's entered into a purchase agreement for 575 cryptocurrency mining rigs. And these rigs in question are for mining Ethereum, which has already had a major rally, and these rigs are going to be delivered to SOS in several weeks. Now, this is something that investors should consider, and I'm going to get into that SOS chart later in the video. The next one they talk about is Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, and they say they have partnered up with Dolphin Entertainment and H2H to offer non-fungible tokens. The companies will work together to develop, market, and promote and sell these NFTs. Hall of Fame has announced that the first offering will be sold to H2H Legends, which is a group of some of the greatest athletes to ever set foot on the football field. Their president and CEO, Michael Crawford, added, "The demand for NFTs associated with sports has already been overwhelming. Given the brand partnerships we've had with the entities like the NFL Alumni Association, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and many others, we will continue to create a strong pipeline of content that will excite consumers for years to come." And last but not least, they talk about Humbl Incorporated, and they talk about the launch of their block exchange-traded index products, and they say these products will simplify digital asset investing, which could help its mainstream adoption. The block ETXs will work with customers using Coinbase, Bittrex, or Binance. Humbl also announced the launch of Humbl Pay mobile application on April 16th. The application is for purchasing live event tickets, Humbl financial services, credit, and more. And they also go on to say that despite the shares of Humbl dropping in several recent trading sessions, the company has a lot going for it in the long term. On April 14th, Humbl closed a $3 million bridge note from Brighton Capital Partners. The pair have also executed on an equity financing agreement for Brighton to purchase up to $50 million in Humbl stock, and this could be another explanation for the high volume that Humbl stock is seeing right now. Alrighty then, so let's get into the charts here. This is the current daily chart of Humbl Incorporated, ticker symbol HMBL. And just a reminder, guys, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just my opinion on the stock. So any stocks that I talk about in my videos, please do all of your own research before buying or selling them, because this is just the opinion of some guy on the internet. Now, that being said, I still have these trend lines drawn on from my last video, and I talked about if Humbl broke this support area, it probably had a date with the 200 period simple moving average in its near future, which is this yellow line, and that is exactly what has happened so far, and in fact, it's finding some pretty good support at it right now. And if you waited to buy that stock at this yellow line, you're already up about 20% at the moment. So if you wanted to add to a long-term position, if you wanted to start a position period in the stock, or if you just wanted to play like a day trade or a swing trade, you're doing pretty good so far. And let me know down there in the comments section if any of you guys were waiting for this stock to get down to that level, and if you added there, because looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty decent support area so far. And you know, this isn't supernatural at all. When these type of patterns, they occur over and over again in the market. So once you learn these patterns, you know, you can use them to make better trading and investing decision, even if you want to invest for the long term. You know, if you've been in this stock for a while and you see this kind of pattern playing out, you know, it's really not all that bad of an idea sometimes to either sell out and then repurchase, because then you could take the money that you sold at, say, $3 or $3.50, and then you could average or just load up right around $1.25. Because if you still want to own this stock for the long term, it doesn't really matter where it goes in the short term, but you can use this kind of information to you know, position yourself a little bit better for the long term. Just because the stock comes all the way down to $1 and you bought at 3 and it's going to 10, you know, buying a stock at 3 and it goes to 10, that's fantastic. But if you can grab some of it at around $1.25 and it still goes to 10, you know, that is exceptional. But let's get into some of the other time frames here. Let's get to the weekly chart and see how the weekly chart is shaping up. We can see on the weekly chart it's coming down to touch the 50-period simple moving average, which is the blue line. And normally when you get a fast sell-off like this coming down to a major moving average, you'll usually get a bounce up. Now, what I would guess, and this is just a guess, is that it's probably going to come up to at least this $2.50 area. So that's a pretty decent sized bounce. It's pretty much a doubling from that moving average. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, but that's just typically what happens with these type of patterns, because this thing is way oversold. I mean, this stock was trading almost to $8 a share just a couple of months ago. So coming all the way down to 1 and then bouncing to 2.5, really on a percentage basis from that old high isn't necessarily a gigantic move. But, you know, if you're able to time these trades and get at these major support levels, you know, that's a pretty decent upside bounce for you. But let's go to that hourly chart and take a look at how some of the hourly data is shaping up on Humbl. And on this chart, you can definitely see that triangle consolidation pattern a little bit better, that clear-cut support area, and then the break. But if we zoom in a little bit closer, we're starting to see the volume really pick up. So this is indicating this could be a climax bottom here. A climax volume bottom. You usually see these when a stock is going to bottom out after having a very sharp decline. And if we zoom in a little bit, we can see a little bit of a double bottom starting to occur. Now, this doesn't guarantee that the stock is going to move higher, but usually this is the first building block on a stock that does go higher. Just because you see this pattern doesn't mean it's going higher, but most of the time when a stock does bounce up, you usually see this first. So I don't know if that made any sense, but basically if this pattern happens, doesn't guarantee something, but usually when you do get a bounce, this happens first. Hopefully that made sense, but this is a very bullish looking pattern in the short term. When I was looking at this last week, I was pretty bearish on the stock because I was thinking it was probably going to break through that resistance or that support area. But now that area becomes resistance, and I would expect that to be a pretty stiff area of resistance. Of course, all Humbl needs is some really good news, and it could easily blast through that level. But as of right now, I think Humbl's got a pretty good chance of bouncing back up towards that 250 area. I guess we'll have to see. I'll do another video on Humbl in probably another week or so, and we'll see how it shaped out. But let's get into some of those questions. All right, so let's get to the first question. The first one is from my friend over at Millennial Money Gains, and he's asking about SOS Limited. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel yet, go over there and check it out. It's Millennial Money Gains, when gains with a Z on the end. And he's actually made some pretty decent calls lately. And this, if you've been following this market or trading this market the last couple of months, you know this hasn't been an easy market to trade. So make sure you go over there and check it out. And I know he is bullish on this company. This one has been mired in a pretty steep downtrend, but a lot of these lower price stocks are starting to look exactly like this, and this is a very bearish pattern, unfortunately, but I think he's trying to pick out a bottom, and I know he's been following the news on this, and so he's got some pretty decent news that he's been tracking that he thinks going to be a catalyst to send this one higher. But if I had to guess, I'd say this has probably got a date with the 200 before it gets back up above these moving averages. It's fighting with that 8-period exponential moving average right now, and if it can jump back above that, that's the first step it needs to start a new uptrend. But as of right now, it is still below it, and you know, I always try to respect the trend because that is the path of least resistance, and I think this thing just has a date with the 200 in the near future. Now, they could get a big bounce above that, or it might not even make it down there, but that is just my opinion. This is usually a pretty good area to buy, and actually if we put a support line on this area, we can see that there's some support from back in January also sitting right there, so that looks like a pretty decent buy area. But if it does get above these moving averages in the next day or so, there's a pretty good probability it could end up making it all the way back up to this 50-period simple moving average, this blue line on the chart. And all it really is going to take is, you know, some of the cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin to start screaming higher again. And you're going to see a lot of these Bitcoin-related stocks take off. And there's also a resistance area right there around 646. So the stock is trading at $4.22 at the moment. So that represents a pretty decent move to the upside if it does get above those moving averages. So SOS it's getting towards that, towards the bottom. So I'd be more of a buyer at these levels than a seller because you don't want to be selling when a stock is getting towards a strong support area. But I am also respecting this trend, and I don't know if I would be buying just yet. I'd kind of wait for the stock to prove itself, and that it's going to move. It's going to start moving higher. You know, jump up above this 8-period exponential moving average and start riding it up a little bit. You know, just get the trend on your side. Hopefully, you can catch one of these type of moves. But if those cryptocurrencies get booming again, I mean, this one could be headed upwards in a hurry. So it's definitely one worth watching, especially being this close to this support level. All right, the next question is from 10, the JGM, and he's asking about Rolls-Royce Holdings. And honestly, this stock is kind of a head-scratcher. God, I remember this thing way back when it was... maybe like 10 years ago. I think I remember when this thing first came out. Yeah, right around 10 years ago, and it had a decent little uptrend, but it just seems like it's been going down for centuries now. And I don't know what the fascination with this stock is, but I get questions on this one from time to time, maybe just because of these huge moves that it has. But it always has these big gaps, you know. I mean, you can be up a pretty decent amount or down a pretty decent amount overnight very often on this stock. And but it does have massive moves. I mean, you can see this move went from $1.42 up to $3.50 in just a couple of months, and just huge gaps every direction the whole way up. So this is not a stock that I typically like to trade just because it's, you know, just so volatile and unpredictable. But I could definitely see you making some pretty decent money on this stock if you ever were to call any of these moves, you know, the right way. I mean, this thing just, it's so scattered and, you know, it really trends sometimes. You know, I definitely wouldn't be buying this stock if it was below the 8-period exponential moving average, and probably wouldn't be selling it if it was above it because this thing can really get going. But let's look at the current price action, and right now it's actually below it, but it's trying to find a bottom. It has some support here down at about $1.35, and it got almost down to that level today, but it is actually, well, it's actually only up 1 cent at the moment. But I don't know. As far as this one goes, I don't know what to tell you. This one is tough to get a read on, and I do get questions on this one every once in a while. So I don't know if it's just because it says Rolls-Royce, but for whatever reason, this one has kind of a cult following, and I don't really have any advice on this one, man. I'm sorry. I guess if you're going to trade it, just make sure you're on the right side of that 8-period exponential moving average, and hope you get on one of these screaming trends because you could do well. But if it drops below it, I would probably get out of it because it could probably scream against you just as fast. So I don't know if that helps at all, but that's about all I got on Rolls-Royce, man. All right, well, before I get out of here, I just want to make some comments on the overall market and about some of the stocks that we traded. But when I was trading the market early this morning in the Patreon live stream, I was noticing that the market looked like it was really trying to carve out a bottom. Even though the NASDAQ was down, it was just looking like this was going to be a rallying type day. It just looked like stocks were starting to bottom all over the place, and that's exactly what we're getting. And a lot of us in the Patreon ended up picking up some stocks yesterday and the day before, trying to take advantage of these prices that were on sale. Now, if I had to guess, I would say the market's probably going to rally into the rest of the week. Definitely if it closes at the high of the day. The trading day is not over. If the market reverses and ends near the low range of today's bar on the NASDAQ, then that's probably not going to be the case as far as a rally during the rest of the week. But this definitely looks like a turnaround day for the short term, so I would expect a little bit of follow-through tomorrow. Now, I know this market is crazy, so don't hold me to that, but that's just the feeling that I'm getting from this price action, so I'm very confident in the longs that I'm holding right now. But in the Patreon group, unfortunately, I didn't grab this one, but some of the other guys did, and they're doing quite well. It was actually in yesterday's video. Some of the guys are absolutely killing it on skills. This thing is just blasting higher on huge volume. I mean, this thing looks like this one has a date with the 200 period simple moving average in the near future, right around 18 bucks. And that's a huge move down from $12.40. I actually almost bought the $14 call yesterday for Friday, and I would be up huge. I'd be up over 20 times my money. I think right around 25 times my money I'd be up right now. But they were kind of expensive, so I laid off them. They just seemed like they were pretty expensive for a stock that had been closing towards the low of the day, and it was closing towards the low right around $12 and 40 cents, maybe $12.50. So I was thinking about buying the $14 call. And I just wimped out because they were a little bit more expensive than I wanted, and I would have just been absolutely crushing it if I was holding it right now. And if this thing ends up going to 18, I'd probably end up being up, like 40 times my money if I would have held on to the whole time, if it makes it to 18. But just a crazy trade. I ended up buying CleanSpark. CleanSpark was making a pretty decent pattern coming down towards the 200 period simple moving average and this other area of support. CleanSpark is up 6.5% on the day, so that's doing pretty good. And of course, the other one I added was the Tattooed Chef, and added some more Tattooed Chef. So now I am up on that position. I started the position the last 2 days, and as of right now, I'm up on it, so I'm up pretty decent. But man, not nearly as much as I'd have been up on skills. But man, what a fantastic buying opportunity that was in skills. And if any of you guys out there did end up buying any skills today or yesterday, man, let me know in the comments section, because you guys must be up pretty big. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.